Blog Talk Radio. And greetings. Welcome to Oracle Divination Network. You have your Omega 7 here live, coming at you with our 33rd episode in our first season. And I've been away for a while, and I'd like to say, each and every one of you, I hope that you have been frequenting my show and listening to our actual on-demand recordings. And I'd like to say that we have a special topic for you this evening. We're calling all of the spiritual workers out there, those of Petbees, Babalaws, those who are priests and priestesses, and INYANFIAS. We're asking you to come in if you're out there. We're trying to gather or rekindle that relationship with those spiritualists who've been so far away from them that we have not been addressing what is really going on in our spiritualist life. And inquiring minds want to know, inquiring minds would like to know, and we would also like to bring you up to date as to what some of the things that are happening in our atmosphere. Has anyone taken the temperature of the atmosphere? I mean, not like Harriet would do when she just spit on her finger and then pinch her finger in the air and follow that North Star and get the direction of our frequency and our energy. It's a lot going on out in the atmosphere, whether it be with people becoming discriminative to each other, whether it be to people setting up the groups like Me Too movement, those people who are working very hard to create an atmosphere that's very difficult for certain nationalities, or should I say certain African Americans. Because, ladies and gentlemen, here at the 1300 hour, we're still trying to figure out whether or not we as African Americans have a nationality, and do we have a claim to citizenship? I mean, this is terrible. We are here at the 1300 hour, and we, being oracle readers, can't even figure out what is the next move for African Americans, and why so much attention being put on locking men up of the African American descendant. And is this a ploy to deviate from society, to paint a picture of the black man as being the new creature that's out there that everybody's calling the boogeyman? Well, we got to turn those things around, because we all have to look at individuals, people. Every nationality has to be able to examine no matter who they say they are. And we can't just let one group of nationality people off the hook while the others are catching hell. We just can't do that. I mean, this is not how society works. If we truly are going to build a legal institute that's supposed to govern the embodiment of all people, we cannot excuse one group of people and allow them to do hideous things while carrying on responsibility of leading this country and being in highfalutin positions, and they're walking free on the streets at night, and they're the predators. So we got a serious problem. That's why we're calling these spiritualists together so we can talk about what can we really do as oracle readers. I know we have the ability to harness the frequency and to redirect a lot of lightning, and we can create a lot of storms. We have that ability. We have that frequency. We have that authority. But what most African Americans don't know is that we have the ability as readers to set the frequency and to set the harmony right. Whereas those who are criminals will come and confess, and they will submit themselves under authority. We have that ability to change their mindset. We have that ability to make them aware of the fact that these oracle readers have authority and power that's been placed on our heads to make sure that we govern the society accordingly. Too many people are getting off the hook with all their devilish ways, and they're throwing the rock, hiding their hand, and pointing it in the direction of the black man, saying, him did it. But what about you? Have you been caught with your pants down too? Have you been involved in bad situations such as sexual predator? If you have, the oracle readers will come after you, and they will make you confess to the crime that you know you've committed. We've got to stop this. We are showing too much partiality, and white male supremacy is running rampant, and no one's saying anything, not even their counterpart. She is allowing him to act out, do these things, but when it comes to her going in to tell on him about what he's done to her, she will stand up with the Me Too movement to point the finger. But why can't you bring these men down? What is the problem? Why hasn't they been brought to task? You got a whole organization called Me Too, and you mean you cannot strike on the predators no matter where they may be and what high positions they hold? You cannot bring them to bear? What is the problem? Do we need other people to help you to call them out? Maybe you're not trying hard enough. Maybe you're not pushing the right button. And here we've got a situation where ongoing, a man that holds a legal law license, who's a member of the bar, who is found with all these deviant charges, and then we still say he can practice law in another state. How is that? When a man has shown his inability to be a prudent human being, I don't care if it's in the Rocky Mountains. I don't care if it's over in Africa. Wrong is wrong. If he is being indicted, he has no business practicing law anywhere on this God's green earth. But yet, he is representing other so-called victims while he needs to be placed under supervision of the law. He has no business doing any type of counseling while being indicted. We got a crazy situation going on here in our country, and other countries are looking at us saying, I don't believe this. The lawmakers are lawless, and they're standing in adjudication of trying to adjudicate some other individual when in fact they have no business to be in authority. So we got a messed up world, you say, Omi. Yes, we do. A serious messed up world. Let's see here. Hold on 1 minute. Hold on. Okay. We got a messed up world here, a serious messed up world, ladies and gentlemen. And we got to do something about that. We really do. We've got to do something about that. And we cannot let this go on. Hold tight. Welcome back, family. And on the Inca here in live person talking to you. I've been gone for a while. I hope you missed me because I missed each and every one of you. And how is the African family and how are the children? I hope you're fair to middling. We've been talking about quite a few things while I was away. We've been talking about the reparation, that 40 acres and 160 acres now that we found out, as well as the $50 that we were due. Now, I've asked the congregation or the group to put the actual reparation discussion on hold for a bit. We have a more serious problem, and that is looking at our judicial system and the fact that we were told during the Emancipation Proclamation during 1865 that all slaves were free and that it was illegal to slave anyone except for, and I'm sure you remember the quote, when an individual was indubitably convicted of a crime. Now, notice I said convicted. I did not say alleged crime. We've got this thing all backwards, ladies and gentlemen. We've got people locked up who submitted themselves under a plea bargain, who have not been convicted of anything, and who have not committed any crime. And they have not had their day in court, and there they are locked behind bars in a form of slavery. Now, didn't we say the Emancipation Proclamation freed us? And yet we're celebrating the 4th of July like we have gotten our freedom. But if they're still putting people in a position of slavery, then they have violated our 13th Amendment. We've got to do something about it. And that's why I call this meeting. I call this meeting to call all the spiritualists, the Babalaws, the Petbees, INYANFIAS, priests and priestess together. This is a calling for the spiritual head, that we might put our heads together and come up with solution. Harriet decided to put her gun away. She's also a spiritualist, and she decided that she was going to consult with the ancestors and any spiritualists that wanted to be in that meeting so she can talk to them about what is going on amongst the African Americans, that they should be set back into slavery. Isn't that a violation of the 13th Amendment? And we've got to ratify that 13th Amendment to make sure people understand that slavery is over. You cannot incarcerate people and put them in a slavery position if they have not been convicted in a court of law. You cannot handle them in the manner that they're slaves. And that's exactly what is happening. A lot of men who have been forced to do a plea bargain. Now, what's a plea bargain? Well, it sounds like to me when the judge, the DA, and the lawyer get together and they cut a deal, even though the person may have not even been there, even though they may not have evidence or have any type of DNA to prove that this person was a part of this crime. They want him to take a plea bargain, to lie and submit to the fact that he was there, just so they can cut a deal that will be less, they claim, than what he would get if he went to trial. Now, I am pledging that everyone, not just African American, but all people, have your day in court. It is your inalienable right to have your day in court. People died for you to have your day in court. And that day in court means that you can cross-examine any witness, subpoena people to come to that trial and have real law. What are we doing? We are not even practicing real law. The reason you lawyers went to school, became a member of the bar, is to cross-examine the witnesses, to be able to sit down and reason with reasonable, prudent human beings, not to just cut deals and offer black men plea bargaining. Some black men have said they were not anywhere around during that case. They were not even involved. but they don't want to have their nerves jumping all over the place while someone decides on their destiny. So they take the plea bargain. Then they come back and say, I'm innocent. Well, they're innocent until proven guilty. There's a lot of people that are in prison right now that are innocent. And some of the crimes that they have committed are not heinous crimes. Some of the crimes are drug trafficking. Now you've got large corporations manufacturing marijuana and selling it and making a profit, while at the same time you have young men and women incarcerated under long sentences for even possessing marijuana. Now you've actually damaged the marijuana. You went and add all types of PCT, all types of lace chemicals that are killing people, and there's no more pure marijuana on the market. And it was created for the benefit of those who are sick. And now you go and taint it, and then you continue to lock up other people in other states where it's not legal. How can you? How are you creating these laws that benefit yourself? The law system will come down. It will fall down. Trust me. If you cannot create laws that are reinforceable, that you are held accountable to, when you create laws that are not beneficial for yourself and others, then those laws will come down. Those laws will come down. And that's why we're here today, to discuss what is the best mechanism for addressing our criminal system, for addressing the problem with our men in blue and the judicial system. As we call these spiritualists here today, I'm sure each and every one of you have an idea of what we can do. And it may not be anything carnal-minded, but it will be spiritual. We'll keep that as a secret society. But there are many things we as individuals who are members of a secret society can perform. We can tarry for the Holy Ghost and offer up to the Holy Ghost a request to take control of the penal institution and our judicial system. And dry bones can walk all over that courtroom, and they will come and they will straighten things out. But we as individuals are scared to death to even approach a system that we know is ill prepared. We see the dilemmas, we see the impartialities, and we don't know how to appeal to a system that's gone wrong, that's gone bad. Well, somebody's got to stand up and say something and not fear any man, because God is with us. Emmanuel is with us. And when we see something that's wrong, we are to cry loud, spare not, and lift up our voices like a trumpet and show the house of Jacob their transgressors. And that's what we're about to do today in this room. We're calling all spiritualists, all Bible laws, priestess and priest, INYANFIAS and Petbees, come into order, because we have a problem that only the saints can address. And when the saints come marching in and lay down the law, there is going to be repercussions and consequences. You cannot bail others out of the law and don't call them into subjection while you are putting your foot on others' necks. You cannot do that and stay in charge very long. You will lose your position soon. You will soon lose your position. You are not sent to govern people and not govern all people. Some people should not be rewarded with non-bails, which is illegal as well, and some people should not be indicted through the media, which some people are also getting. So what are we going to do as our spiritualist community? How are we going to address this? Then we must have our own congregation to go into every courtroom proceeding and make sure that we sit on that council as part of the council as the wise men. You must remember that it was the African who brought reasoning to society. Let's reason together here today. If you cannot reason together with us, then you're barbaric. And that's what we came into the Caucasus Mountains and showed those who were barbarically not able to reason. And we reasoned with them, and we spoke to them in a manner that they could understand. We brought reasoning to society. Let's not forget that. The African brought reasoning. And when we're unreasonable, we must chastise you as the elders. And most of the spiritual people are the elders. And we have no business placating children. When they are out of order, we must tell them they are out of order, and we must show them the proper way. And when they are lost, we must put them back on a path. And right now, our judicial system is lost. Our penal system is broken. Our men in blue have gone the wrong path. Why is it that the men in blue in other countries don't carry weapons and they keep law and order better than anything I've ever seen? And they don't pull their pistol because they think somebody else is going to pistol whip them. How is it that an innocent man in a car that you stop and ask him to put his hands on the dashboard where you can see him? How is it that the men in blue could pull their pistols on somebody like that? What can they possibly do to them? Have they done such a terrible job that they think everybody's out to get them? What happened to the men in blue that used to be our friend, that used to say good morning and mean it, and that used to come and assist us and push us out of those snowbank areas and then bid us farewell for the rest of the day? What happened to those men in blue that would help us search for children that were lost and came to our homes and sat down to our meal table to talk to us? What happened to those men in blue? Are they now turning into soldiers? Well, we are not at war with the men in blue, and they should not be using tactics as if we are at war. We've got to do something about this, and brothers. We've got to sit down spiritually and put our heads together. We've got to come up with a solution quick, fast, and in a hurry, because this ordeal is not going to last very long, because somebody's going to reach a boiling point, and they're going to set precedent. And right now, we are vowing that you lay your weapons down, all of you, even the men in blue. We're vowing that the system come up with a certain motivational tactic for those men who don't have to use their gun. Give them rewards. For those men who don't want to beat with a gun, give them additional reward because they're using their heads and not their guns. But we can't have men firing their guns unnecessarily and pulling families over and harassing them about a 99-cent doll. What could that store owner possibly be thinking? It wasn't necessary. They could have went in the store and paid for the doll. And there's too much impartiality being shown about why so many black people are in the news with the policemen caustically arresting them. I never see any white people that you're arresting. I never see any Hispanic people. They don't go through this. Is there some type of code that we don't know about? There has to be, because right now you are accosting too many African Americans unnecessarily. They're not criminals, and you can't make them into criminals. I don't care how many you lock up, you cannot make them into criminals. They're God-fearing citizens. And by all means, when you give a ticket, give the ticket and let them go on their way. Why is it a theatrical drama drawn just for you to look up their license plate and you're holding them, and instead of giving them their license back saying, hey, have a nice day, go pay the ticket and be done with it? What happened to that? We're not even doing that anymore. We're pulling people out of the car, throwing them to the ground, handcuffing them and beating them. What sense do you think that God will let you live on this green earth by treating people this way? God will soon intervene, and he must intervene. And that's why we're here today, to call on the ancestors, to call on God to intervene over every one of those cars that stop, so we can stop this hideous, mutilating, beating from going on. It shouldn't be going on. If there's frustration in your life, go see a therapist. Do not let it out on innocent victims that you're stopping. You're taking your authority the wrong way. And we must look at this judicial system, which has us outside of the law. Why are we not getting law in the courtroom? Why is everything a forfeiture, or why is everything a plea bargain? No. We must not accept it. Go to court to plead your case and cross-examine those who might be a part of your case and allow you to have your day in court. This system is terribly broken, and no one wants to go into court back and forth, and then we find out that the person is going to get thrown in jail, and the system is not working for us black people. You must allow us to formalize our own. You must allow us to have our own counsel with all of those people that I called here today. They are spiritualists, and they are sent from God, and their MO is to keep the peace. They are more spiritual than anyone you can have on that jury, and they should be allowed to set in on that jury, to advise that jury, or to have our own consultation where you send our people to us to govern. Because you no longer can handle them. You have fraudulently put too many mistaken men in jail who have served time. Now, you can't keep saying, I'm sorry. They put the time in, and they were innocent. They can't get those years back. So we must do something about this. We cannot sit by and allow this to continue to happen when we have men and women that are supposed to be honorable, who are sitting on that jury and who are sitting in that judge position. But we're finding that a lot of you are not honorable. We're finding that you're paying homage to an organization, to the bar that you plead and prayed over. And being in those positions means you have great responsibility. You cannot be in those positions and look at the situation with a white supremacist attitude. You cannot govern people with prejudiced attitudes. If you don't know how to rid yourself of these prejudiced attitudes, you have no business sitting in the chamber as the judge, or as the jury, or as the DA, or as the lawyer. We've got a problem with this. All of it is mishandled. You must let us govern ourselves. So you say you want to govern yourself, right, Omi? Yes. How will you govern yourself? We bring our councilmen together. African councilmen have resided over all their issues, and they come together under the council, and they reason, and they make good decisions, and they're able to cast lot. So I say, come, let us cast lot today to find out if this is a good decision, because we can find out who's guilty, who's not, by casting lot. Ifa will not lead us the wrong way. Ifa will show us. And this is why I know that the judicial system needs to tap into the benefits that we carry as elders and specialists, as priests and priestesses. They need to tap into our gifts so we can get to the heart of the matter. Why are you dragging out these situations where men don't get to plead on their behalf? Cast lot. Lot will tell you right then and there who was involved, who was the victim, and who is the assailant. Then you don't have to guess, because all you're doing on these courtroom juries is guessing, and sometimes you're not hitting the mark. You're missing the mark, and innocent people are going to jail. And we got to stop this, because we didn't go to school to get a degree in mind reading, but God has given some of us spiritual ability to be able to read oracles and the ripples in the water and be able to deceive and understand what really happened. We are guessing too much with a lot of people on the jury who have no business being there. They're ill prepared. You have the spiritualists here in the neighborhood that are not utilizing any of their gifts with the general community and the public, that you can ask to sit on the jury to help make crucial decisions. We got a problem, Houston. We got a serious problem. Our elders are not being called upon for anything anymore, especially not for divining. Did not the Africans come to your rescue when you needed medicine, when you were sick with the palsy? You came to Africa seeking a solution, going to the witch doctor to give you solution. If you pleaded to the witch doctor to help heal you when you were sick, why can't you come to the witch doctor now to ask for his assistance to help you make crucial decisions over who's wrong and who's right? Is this a system where we're just locking people up because we need the beds filled and it's a form of a business? If this is the case, may God have mercy on you. May God intervene and stop this nonsense because it's gone too far. Now, I don't mean to take up your time, but I'm calling on all of those spiritualists. If you're in the room or if you're out there, please call in now. Hold tight. Caller number 973, who may I say is calling. How are you?
Leviticus 13, regulations about defiling skin. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, when anyone has swelling or a rash or a shiny spot on their skin that may be a defiling skin disease, they must be brought to Aaron the priest or to one of his sons who is the priest. The priest is to examine the sore on the skin.
Can you speak into the microphone?
If the sore has turned white and the sore appears to be more than skin deep, it is defiling skin disease. When the priest examines that person,
can you
he shall
speak into
pronounce
the
him
microphone?
ceremonially unclean. If the shiny spot on the skin is white, but does not appear to be more than skin deep, and the hair has not turned white, the priest is to isolate the affected person for 7 days. On the 7th day, the priest is to examine him. And if he sees that the sore is unchanged and has not spread in the skin, he is to isolate them for another 7 days. On the 7th day, the priest is to examine them again. And if the sore has faded away and has not spread in the skin, the priest shall pronounce them clean. It is only a rash. They must wash their clothes, and they will be clean. But if the rash does spread in their skin after they have shown themselves to the priest to be pronounced clean, they must appear before the priest again. The priest is to examine that person, and if the rash has spread in the skin, he shall pronounce them unclean. It is a defiling skin disease. When anyone has a defiling skin disease, they must be brought to the priest.
Sir,
the priest is to,
do you have a question of some kind?
Yeah,
and can you tell me what your name is? What is your name?
And if there's a white swelling in the skin that has turned the hair, white, and if there is raw flesh,
I don't think you identified yourself. What is your name?
Them unclean. He is not to isolate them because they are already unclean. If the disease breaks out. If the disease breaks out over all their skin,
I understand that
so
you're reading something, but can you tell us how that has something to do with what we're talking about?
Them, and if the disease has covered their whole body, he shall pronounce them clean. Since it has all turned white, they are clean. But whenever raw flesh appears in them, they'll be unclean. When the priest sees the raw flesh, he shall pronounce them unclean.
I don't think we're talking about that topic.
The raw
I think
flesh
you're on
is
another
unclean.
whole
They have
topic.
a defiling disease. If the raw flesh changes and turns white, they must go to the priest. The priest is to examine them, examine them, and if the sores have turned white, the priest shall pronounce the affected person clean. Thank you,
sir. Who are you talking
the priest
about?
shall pronounce
What
the affected
sores are
person
you
clean,
referring to?
then they will be clean.
I think you're
When
talking
someone has a
on
boil on their
show.
skin and it heals, and in the place where the boil was, a white swelling or reddish white spot appears, they must present themselves to the priest. The priest is to examine it, and if it appears to be more than skin deep in the hair,
we're not talking about that same kind of
and it
priest.
has turned white, the
talking
priest shall
about
pronounce that person unclean. It is a defiling
We're
skin
not
disease that
talking
is
about a
broken out
priest
where
in
the
the
boil
Catholic
was.
Church.
But if when the priest examines, there is no white hair in it, and there is not more than skin deep and has faded, then the priest is to isolate them for 7 days. If it is spreading in the skin, the priest shall pronounce them unclean. It is a defiling disease. But if the spot is unchanged and has not spread, it is only a scar from the boil, and the priest shall pronounce them clean. When someone has a burn on their skin and a reddish white or white spot appears in the raw flesh of the burn, the priest is to examine the spot. If the hair in it has turned white and it appears to be more than skin deep, it is a defiling skin disease.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to discontinue talking, else I'm going to mute you so you won't be able to talk. Okay? Now, you're disrupting my show. Whatever you're reading, it has nothing to do with the priest that I'm talking about. I'm talking about African-American priestess. This is not Catholic priest. We don't practice Catholicism here. We're talking about African-American priests, and if you know anything about the African-American priests, we're talking about those people that are over in Africa. We're not talking about the actual Orthodox priest that you're referring to. I don't know anything about cleaning sores and all that kind of stuff. It has no relevance here what we're talking about. We're calling a council together, somebody that has the ability to reason, somebody that can actually come into a setting to better explain how to operate in a judicial system. Our system is broke now. We don't have proper wisdom that is being guided properly to make judgment over people's lives. We cannot continue to put novelists over the responsibility of executing judgment on someone. If you don't have the wisdom, you're sitting in the position of a judge or jury. You have no heaven or hell that you can put these people in, but God will certainly come in and interrupt business as usual to properly adjudicate cases. And you cannot rob people of their rights to have adjudication and their day in court when you're saying that these people that come to court will have to plea bargain. No. God himself will open up the sky and come here to set the record straight. Every man and woman is supposed to have a right to a trial, an expedient trial, where they can address the issues of their offender. And what they're doing is locking people up. They're not having their day in court, and they're not having a trial, and then they're going into these prisons, and they're becoming free labor. And that we know, and a child can see that this is illegal and it shouldn't be happening. And us elders, we have discussed this, and we know it's wrong. We know that when someone resides over a courtroom, cannot give people a fair trial, be it black or white. They must be addressed. And somebody must address this judicial system to set the record straight. It was the Native Americans that came in and helped to structure a judicial system, but I'm sure they didn't intend for it to be set up this way. It's a whole game. Anytime you plea bargain and you work for the state, you're on the state's payroll, and the judge and you both are a member of the same organization, all of that is wrong. And don't you realize that we have actually seen this, black and white. Then it's not just the black people complaining, it's the poor white people too who can't afford an attorney. When they tell you if you can't afford an attorney, we will appoint you one. No, they're not. They're actually giving you a judge. They're giving you an attorney that works with them. It shows partiality. You cannot double jeopardy come in and represent the defendant and say we want you to do a plea bargain and say you're representing them. You're not representing them. You're working for the state. All of this stuff is wrong. It should have been overhauled a long time ago. I don't know what allowed us to sit through this kind of nonsense without saying something. You have elderly people overseas in Africa who sit and reside on the castle, who are closer to God than anyone I know, and that are tapping in to the mind of God so they know what to do in cases. But we got illegitimate, inappropriate people who are residing over these juries who have no business there, who are showing impartiality. So that's what we're talking about today, if you wanted to know. Because what you're talking about sores and all of this cleaning, I mean, I have no idea where you're going with that topic. I'd like to help you, but I don't know how I can. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for whoever that person was. He sounded to be very sick to me. He was quoting scriptures from the Bible, what a priest does. We are not talking about Orthodox priests, and we're not talking about Catholicism. We're talking about African priestess from parts of Nigeria, from Benin, who actually are still operating this day, who actually handle cases where they can't solve the murder. They're able to go into oracle reading, and as they go in oracle reading, they can see into the lives of people, and they can really figure out who was involved in the atrocity, who was a part of the murder, and they can do a reading to get an answer from Ifa. Ifa provides them with an answer. That's why the judge needs to really pursue any priests and priestesses to ask them to sit on the council. They need wise men. They need people who have been here before. They need people who have an understanding of a third eye. If they don't have that spirituality and don't know where to get it, because you cannot get it by going to the store and buy it. It takes long periods of time for these people who have been here before. Some of us have been working on our second or third life, and we've been here, so we know and see into the future. But they don't call on us because they think that we're going to show impartiality. Well, what's going to happen is God's going to take the reign away, and they will no longer be able to govern us, no longer. And we will govern our own people fairly because we are a fair people. And we realize that it is no justification in locking up a person just to fill a bed or to fill a position so that they can run a business. It's a business in locking people up. And we've got to say something about that, and we've got to point the finger that young boys are being tried as grown men, and they're being locked away, robbed of their childhood. And this is something that us elders have been worried about, and we wanted to come together and talk about this. Now, if you're out there, priests and priestess, you may call in. Please don't call in with no nonsense, because I'm going to have to tell you off. Now, I did that young boy a favor. I let him finish his conversation. But ordinarily, I would not waste my time over that because he's speaking garbage about someone cleaning wounds out. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about. And that was not very smart in doing that. The ancestors are not pleased with that. We've already summoned the ancestors. Let me call the ancestors right now. In the name of our ancestors, Ola Dulamare, the God of this earth, we call you forward. We call forth as we turn to the east. We call forth our mother spirit, Yamenye. We call Oshun. We call forth Obatala. We call forth Elegba. And we ask that they will be present here today as we come together to look for solutions for all time problems that's dealing with the judicial system. You know yourself, ancestors, this is not how God intended judgment to be reigned. And all of those that have wrong intentions and who are only building an institution of a business of our black men, putting them in prison to make them work for nothing to provide their society, we're asking that the ancestors put a stop to it instantly, that there will be no more businesses ran with the institution of prison, that not another man will go to jail under falsification and that be brought to ruin because of these false obligations to manufacture a corporation while they have these men work for pennies. We call for the ancestors that they will come forward and that they will minister to these various different authorities that are over the people that they are putting in prison. We call forth the ancestors today that they may come through the miry clay. And if you're hidden in the Masoon, we ask that you get here as fast as you can. And we plead the blood of the Savior over these situations, that we may be able to walk in peace and that we may have stability in our community, and no man will be pulled out of his car or woman to be accosted and assaulted. No more will this go on. We call forth the ancestors today, and we say, Ashe, Ashe. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you understand that this is an oracle reading room, and we call forth our ancestors when we have our backs against the wall. We have to know which manner of man to come out like a badger on, because right now the ancestors are pissed off and they're mad, and they're saying to us that we are not going to resort to carnal weapons, but we are going to resort to spiritual things, and we will call on God in the high places, and we will summon whoever we need to summon to stop this procedure from going on as we watch these people that are accosted and that are brought into these courtrooms that presume to be giving us justice when in fact they're robbing us of our rights. We are calling forth the ancestors to presume and to intervene on behalf of all that is not right. And I have that authority because I am petitioning my ancestors for a solution and giving us direction of which way to go. So right now, we're going to see who we have on the phone line. Hold tight. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on this special occasion. This is your Omega 7, and I'm glad that I'm back. And we're having a discussion about the council coming together. These people are known as our spiritual people who also have a third eye that's open. And those Bible laws, Petbees, INYANFIAS, priests and priestess, we're asking you to come out to help us to have a session today. And our phone lines are open on our phone lines today. And our phone line is 760-539-3247. You can call in now. We are accepting phone calls. We've been talking about in this room how we can overhaul our actual judicial system and our penal institution altogether and the police department. Yes, if you'd like to call in and give your comments on what you would suggest that we do, we've decided to call in the Council of Elders so that the elders can sit on the council and we can adjudicate over some of these cases to help the court system out. And we can ask them to send our people to us to govern and let us render our judgment on our own people, because we would have a better opportunity of rehabilitating our own people. A lot of people are being put in jail for first offense, and they're not properly adjudicated, and they are creating an actual client rather than rehabilitating them and rendering them able to go back into the general population. We're not trying to make criminals by putting people in prison for long periods of time. My question is, why are there so many people that are locked up for weeks at a time because they don't have money to pay the fine? How is it that you can keep people locked up for fine money when, in fact, if you allow them to go back to work, they can make that money and pay you? But having them locked up and having citizens and taxpayers to pay for their dwelling, it is too much on us financially. You're asking us to take care of them to live in low standards. And a lot of these men are in the jail for yearly fees somewhere of the tune of $79,000. That's more than they'll ever bring home to their household. How could someone be charging that kind of money to house a criminal when you can put that person on house arrest and send them home and save the taxpayers some money? Now, I want all those people out there that agree with me, or if you don't agree with me, call in and tell me what's on your mind and give me your solution as to how we can deal with misconduct and unprudent behavior. We've got to come up with better solutions. Call in, people. welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, our phone lines are open and we're taking phone calls. We're talking about overhauling our judicial system, our penal system, and our police department. We're looking at what we can do different. African Americans have had just about enough, and they're really fed up. And they are at the point where they're talking about coming together to talk about what needs to be overhauled. We have put our reparation on hold for a minute because it does us no good just to have reparation if we have chaos and we have disruption of our lives because the judicial system, because the penal institution in large has not favored giving African American a fair deal in having their day in court. And we've decided to bring together the spirits and bring together all those who perpetuate and doing oracle reading. I wanted to know if there are some women out there that do oracle reading. I want you to teach everyone you can how to do oracle reading for themselves because they're going to need it. We're going to need these tools to better adjust ourselves. When we are riding around in cars, we're going to need know how to call on the ancestors to intercede on our behalf. To understand that our ancestors don't play. And if there's something going on that's foul or that's not right, it will show up. They will appear. But we, first of all, have got to have a relationship with them. So you, priests and priestesses, you're going to have to teach these individuals that are asking for oracle readings how to develop a relationship with the Most High and how to do their own oracle reading because they're going to need it, and they're going to need it for their households. And it does you no good to do an oracle reading for them when each one of them have and possess the spirit where they can do their own oracle readings and reside with their family as an expert in reading and looking to the future for their loved ones. That's right. So I'm telling you, don't waste your time doing another oracle reading. Set up shop and demonstrate to them how they can do their own oracle reading. We've got too many people that are coming to all of these saints to ask them to do simple readings, something that pertains to their income or their intimacy. No, you got a lot of work to do. You got family members that need you to cast OB, to give directions for their families and their lives. We got too much going on out here in the police department that shouldn't be going on. We got too much going on, and all of this has been done wrong. And we've got to speak up and say something. And that's why we're calling all of the spiritualists together today. We're not asking you to do another reading, spiritualist or priestess. We're asking you to turn down that opportunity in lieu of teaching each and every one of your brothers how to orchestrate throwing OB for themselves, how to also throw oracle readings for themselves. We are asking you to teach this method because it should have been passed on to each and every one of us. Now, I'm not saying giving your jewels away and casting your jewels to the swine. I'm saying in your household, for those who are asking for reading, how to orchestrate a reading and show them how to cast OB, because this oral religion should have been passed on to each and every one of our family members. And that was a mistake that most of the priestess made. They didn't pass it on, and it should be passed on. Now, I hope that you will come into my office here and drop by. Let me give you that phone number again so you can drop by and come in. That phone number where you can call in. You can call in at 760-539-3247. Call in with your opinion because we're listening and we're waiting for you to call in. Okay? Hold tight. Welcome back, family. And we're in this room discussing what spiritual individuals could do to make a change, a turnaround for our judicial system. It will be a relief for the court system to give us back our youth and let us adjudicate our own people in our own communities. That should be something that should be considered. Because if the man in blue cannot stop pulling their pistols, then maybe they might need to only adjudicate their own people in their own community and not just pulling the pistol on those that are black in their own community. We need to segregate all of the judicial system and let the African American govern their own people, and we need to have the Caucasian govern their people. We have to do this because someone that won't respect you or don't respect any laws you might have will not respect you in the street physically. And that is what's happening. They're not respecting any laws that we have, so they definitely don't respect the individual. And we're having a difficult time understanding why every black man has to be shot that's pulled over. We're having a difficult time understanding that. Our laws and our judgment is being executed harshly as if we're in a war. And this is not how judgment is supposed to be executed. So that's why we're having a discussion now. And we're calling any spiritual out there, any priestess, INYANFIAS, and a Baba Law to call in and state your case as to what you think should be done. Hold tight. Welcome back, and thank you so much for joining me. You've got your Omega 7. I'm here to serve you. I am your advocate. I'm here to advocate before you. I am also your empress. I'm here to serve you. Thank you so much for welcoming me back. I have been gone for quite a while now. I've been doing a couple of shows out there. You can go check me out on Spreaker, on YouTube, and I've also had a couple that are on Facebook Live. So I have to spread around my gifts and work on other shows, but we're trying to see how we can alleviate that and get one specific day a week that I'm going to be on this show. This show I've been involved in for over 10 years now. I just celebrated my anniversary back in May the 19th to be exact, was 10 years for us. So we're going to be doing some new things. We're getting more of our priestess and spiritualist people in to talk about ways and solutions that we can make this airways open for those people who would like to get more into spirituality. Because we are oracle readers, we are involved in being a manifester. So we're going to manifest some things today. We're manifesting that we're going to have more Bible laws. that are in the area that would like to speak on our show, more Petbees and INYANFIAS. Now, a Petbee is one that works with the actual Bible law to assist and aid them. They don't have to be initiated. However, they can divine and they can do a lot of stuff that the Bible law does. And she's an assistant. Then we have the INYANFIAS, who is also an assistant that works with the initiates and governs the initiates. And also, she does not have to also be initiated. She is a helper bee that works with the Bible law. Then we also talked about the priests and priestess. You know that they are basically like a diviner. They can actually divine. And the priestess does quite a bit of work, and she does spiritual work at her altar. And how many of you don't have your altars erected? You should go and erect your altar to your mother spirit and one to your father spirit, and also one to do Olodumare. Some people work with the Orishas and they're Orisha workers, and they engage the Orishas. But we have to have a gatekeeper, Ishun. Ishun is the one that opens up the gate so we can deliver our request. He's also like a little trickster. But we're going to summon him today and ask Ishun, will he open up every door for us to come before the magistrate, to be able to ask the magistrate to give us the gifts that we need in order to overhaul our judicial system. We're going to ask that Ishun will accept our request. And Ishun is one of the tricksters that they talk about that actually executes and deliver your request to the Most High, Olodumare. Now, a lot of you probably have asked the question, who is Olodumare? And we don't say Jesus because we know that there's a hierarchy here, and we don't have Jesus and the Holy Ghost and then God. We have Olodumare, who is the actual God of the universe. And then we have Ifa, and then we have Ori. Ori is a God that has been attached to each of our heads. And Ori is a God that we consult. Whenever we have done something good or need direction, we ask Ori to give us direction because he resides with us. He never leaves us. He, she, or it never leaves us. And you must remember that God cannot be approachable because he is ratified energy. Ratified energy means that he's combustible fire. But Olodumare has clothed himself so you can't approach him. You can't approach Ori as well because he's ratified energy that's been clothed in matter. But Ifa is combustible fire. You can't just walk up and address Ifa. So there's an order and chain of command with this faith and path and way of life. It's not a religion, but a way of life. And Ifa has been it to mend our broken hearts. And we're brokenhearted today because of the dissension over the bureaucracy of our judicial system, of our police department. And Ifa has committed to come in to intervene on behalf of our plight. And when Ifa has come into the situation, things are going to get set straight. And we have to have things set straight. We can no longer go on with half of our community locked up. Homes are broken. This is a catastrophe. Slavery is starting all over again, and we're watching it happen, and we keep saying slavery has ended. No, it hasn't. If you're incarcerating men frequently, more than not, and slavery is just created up under a new name, and it still exists. But you cannot lock God's people away, and you cannot stop the production of God's people. God will prevail. He will intervene, and I know he will. And we are just waiting for the right time for God to tell us to act. And we don't want to be too expedient. We want to be right on time when God tells us to go to our altar and to begin the altar work and to begin the process. We're just waiting for that. And that's why we're calling on you, priests and priestess, right today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know what that time means. Now, we did not get a chance to give out our prizes during the month of May. We started on that process and I got carried over to something else. But we're going to start our escapade later on this month where we're going to be giving out special featured DVDs or CDs that have been created for you steppers out there. And we're going to set up a scenario where we have various different gifts given out at different times on the hour. So that way you can call in and give your opinion. A lot of you don't want to call in until you get full of it, and then you want to call in and pretty much, talk nonsense like the guy this evening. I don't know what he was full of, but he was full of something. But nevertheless, and being courteous and allowing people to have their say, sometimes they never get a chance to talk, but this is not the place to come in and rattle off at the mouth. But at the same token, I want to say that we are going to beef up the volume a little bit in this room, getting things started, and I'm also going to be allowing other people to come in to house this show on my particular platform. So if you're out there and you would like to have your show housed on my platform for a small fee, we will allow you to be able to post your information. We're looking for good, clean fun and no one coming in assaulting other people and using racial slurs. We don't play that in here. Homie, don't play that. Say it with me. Homie, don't play that. Okay? All right. I think you got the message. Don't have me to go and get Harriet to come out, because Harriet will set somebody straight. You know she ain't been carrying her pistol, and she is really up and roaring now. She's worse than what she was when she had her pistol. What y'all say about Harriet? You can't be saying nothing about Harriet. When y'all say something about Harriet, Harriet come up in here in a minute and her bum rush you, and she don't play. I done told you don't be talking about me behind my back, because I don't like that kind of thing. And Harriet ain't about nobody right now. Y'all calling on Harriet and speaking negative about her behind her back. Harriet, we're not talking about. Just let me get in it with y'all saying something that ain't right. I'm going to come on this show and I'm going to wreak havoc. You don't want Harriet on this show, because Harriet come on here and she will wreak havoc, and you know that. And she done went and picked up her some friends. And who was that friend that she said she had that was running with her? I'm trying to think now. Who was that? I know Ida B. Wells said that, Harriet was too much for her, because Ida B. Wells said she would have, spent some time with Harriet, but Harriet was bum rushing people, and she was talking about she wasn't sure if she was going to give up her pistol or not. So Ida B. Wells don't run with Harriet no more. Harriet is a long range, and she's running by herself right now. And who was that other one that said, ain't I a woman? Okay. She was running with her because Harriet was trying to beat her, saying her own saying. Harriet was in the background saying, ain't I a woman? And then the other sister said, no, Harriet, that's my line, Harriet. You can't repeat something that I, and get your own line, Harriet. You can't be repeating me. You're stealing my stuff. Then her and Harriet got into it, And Harriet is still seeking out somebody that can run with her. So she's going to pop in on the show every now and then, trying to run things around here. I told Harriet that I only allow her to come in when I want her to channel, when I channel her. But other than that, she ain't got no business coming in here taking over the show. But we're going to bring in some features where we can do some dramatic plays, and I used to do a lot of play readings where I was different parts and characters. So you have to employ me to get into character. And Harriet is not the only one. We do Queen and Zinga. They call me the Zinga. So we do Queen and Zinga, and we're going to be bringing her back again and letting her talk about her human seat that she has, and how she played it as if she was dead for 5 years and get out, and then came and sprung on her subject and took them out. She took the subject out. So she's more badder than Harriet is. So we're going to bring bringing Zinga back and have her talk. And we're also going to bring the Comedic Institute back, where the Comedic Institute talks about our history, giving us some more history past. We had gotten really involved in doing the history and involving doing children hour and storytelling. All those things we're going to be bringing back, and we're going to be bringing them back in a different fashion and a different style. And hopefully we'll get all that set up for you for next week and get some things lined up on one particular day. Now, my schedule has been pretty scanty, so I've been rushing here and there, but we're going to try to come back with just one particular day. You can go out on speaker and also listen to me there. We do the INYANFIAS broadcaster there. We talk about health and science, and I've been doing a lot with getting together the actual training and development for the foundational science, anatomy, and also the medical term. So if anybody is interested in medical term, we are trying to get 20 students that are firmly working online, preparing them for the medical records field and medical coding field. These two classes will actually, it's going to be 3 when we add in the ICD-10 CM. But right now we're adding in the medical term and anatomy, giving you a foundation on the retention of medical terminology, where you retain 80% of the information. And if anybody is interested in enrolling in that online class, you have up until 12 months to complete the class. However, we can complete it in 14 days. So we're going to have the accelerated boot camp to complete that in 14 days to get you ready to prepare to sit for that exam. The exam does not require that you have a degree or no prior coursework. You're taking these courses as a foundation. They're medical terms, so you can pretty much read the summary report and be able to read medical terms and know the anatomical parts of the body with the bone structure, the 2 and the 6 bones, and on the muscles. And then when you go into the anatomy, it's showing you the anatomical process for how they work together. As a science minor, I definitely wanted to bring this to you, and this is what I've been bringing while on YouTube to talk about. You can go out and listen to the channel on YouTube where I have production studio, and then you can actually listen to the tape or the podcast on demand, where it talks about getting into this profession, what's the profession like, what type of demand they have for the market, and not only that, how you can use it for a stepping stone for other areas of the medical field, such as medical assistants, such as phlebotomists, such as nurses' aides, and x-ray technicians, and respiratory therapy. It's a foundation. These are the foundational courses that most allied health profession needs to have under their belt. And then they can move forward to take the other specialized courses. I am primarily teaching it so that we can produce more home health medical coders, so you can work remotely after 5 years from your home to execute these particular claims, as well as to execute the actual coding. And you can work remotely from your home once you get 5 years behind you. So therefore, you might want to go into someone's urgent care or home health medical center and hospital and work these particular codes. Mostly people who work in home health, hospice, home health diagnosis, home health, let's see who else, compliance, and home health oasis. And this is the area of specialty that I have been teaching on. So for those of you who are interested in our boot camp, we are thinking about putting that boot camp together once we get the list of 20 people. And that would mean that you would be taking a class for 14 days, and we'll be doing a rapid 14-day session. So if any of you are interested, please do go out and leave me an email or message or you can even message me through Facebook or Messenger. And I want to thank each and every one of you for following me. Thank you for letting me be myself again in this boardroom. Thank you so much for being a part. Those who have been following me for the past 10 years, I want to thank you. God bless you. May He enrich you. May He make your countenance to shine and to stand out. May He give you abundance. May He enrich your child's life. May He renew you. May He strengthen you to rise to the level of the occasion. May He call you out with your MO, knowing what your purpose is here on this earth. May you begin to flourish. And may those who are questioning whether or not they should come in and be a follower, sign up and be a follower. Only it's taking you places. And it's not just here in Blog Talk radio station. We're doing the doggone thing out on Spreaker. We're looking at quite a few followers there, and you can be one of those followers. And we're also inviting you to be a part of our health group, where we actually are focusing in on renewing our community and developmental growth for ourselves. We're bettering ourselves. And if these airways don't do anything else for us, they should help better ourselves so that we can renew our strength and we can mount up on wings like an eagle. Like an eagle, y'all, like an eagle. And then we can run and not feel weary. We can walk and not feel faint. So we want to mount up on eagles today. And we want to make sure that our black man is no longer the bald eagle, that he will be taken out of the place of the bald eagle, and that he will be renewed, and that somebody will come to his rescue and relieve him. And as he cry out at that dashboard, that an ancestor will be there at his disposal. We decree it that every man that goes and enters his car that is of a black descent, that the ancestors will be there riding posse with him and assisting and aiding him for protection that he definitely needs against the assailant who might pull their gun for no other reason than bragging rights. We decree that they have no more authority. We decree that they have no authority to speak on behalf of these innocent men. They won't be able to go to court and open their mouth. We decree that they will submit themselves for counseling. We would decree that they will fall out every time they lift their gun to shoot somebody illegally. We decree that God will be standing there to break down this horrible solution, and we will stop these things from happening in our community, and that the penal institution will allow this Congress, this group of council people to come together to aid and make decisions and give advice so that they will have proper senior authority and good advice that's coming from our elders. We decree that in the courtrooms they will have no more power, and they will not steal power away from those innocent victims who don't deserve to be accosted and who don't deserve to be locked in prison. We decree it this day, that the ancestors are here on the scene. We've already summoned them in the courtroom. We summons them in every police car that they may do the right thing, and they may change their mind about what they're going to do. We decree it. We got to pray over you. Pray over him. Pray on a little while longer. Pray on a little while longer. I said pray on a little while longer. The ancestors are on the way. That's what we got to do. And to all of you priests and priestesses, you must pray on a little while longer. You must pray on a little while longer. Pray on a little while longer. Mm.